रुक जाओ, पेज खोल ले यार, 1 मिनट रुकना, तुम और परेशान कर लो। आपको वर्धमान प्लाजा में मिलेंगे अगर आप मिलना चाहती हैं तो। वर्धमान प्लाजा में, नेहरू वियर। चलो बालक, बोलो। 1 2 स्टार्ट, बताते क्यों? हेलो स्टूडेंट, वेलकम इन अमित ISM Academy. Myself Tushar Shukla. Today we are going to start a new topic, and our today's topic is Directive Principle of State Policy. What is the name of topic? Directive Principle of State Policy. It is part 4th of the Indian Constitution. And it contains article from Article 36 to 51. Out of these article number 36 and 37 deals with the certain definition, and from article 38 to 51 they are related with the DPSP, that is a short form of Directive Principle of State Policy. In throughout the lecture we will use the short form DPSP. Now we have to understand what this concept is of Directive Principle of State Policy. So first of all we will start with the word directive. If you listen the word directive, what comes in your mind? It is a certain type of direction given to the state by the Indian Constitution. What is it? It is the certain type of directions given to the state that it has to fulfill for the welfare of the people. In the earlier session, we have seen that fundamental rights, which provide the political rights to the people and which ensures the political democracy in the country. But here, fundamental rights talk about political democracy. Okay, but DPSP, they focused on socio-economic democracy. So the main objective of DPSP is to ensure the socio-economic democracy for the people. We will look ahead in the lecture how it is possible that it ensures the socio-economic democracy for the people. Now first of all we will start with the introduction of DPSP. From where they were inserted, how they were inserted, what is their background. So the Indian constitutional makers of the Constituent Assembly, They have borrowed this principle from the Irish Constitution. From the Irish Constitution. They themselves, the from the people who drafted the Irish Constitution, they themselves have taken from the Spanish Constitution. So the game of borrowing is going here. First of all, we borrowed from the Irish Constitution. They themselves borrowed from the Spanish Constitution. So we are clear about from where this provision has been taken. Next important thing, B.R. Ambedkar. What he said about DPSP? He said that it is a novel feature of Indian Constitution, which means it is one of the most important feature and innovative and unique feature of the Indian Constitution. Who said this term? B.R. Ambedkar, who was the head of the drafting committee, and he is known as the father of Indian Constitution. This line you can use in your mains answer writing. It will act as a value addition to it. Now next is Granville Austin. What he said about the DPSP? He said that it is along DPSP and fundamental right are the conscience of the Constitution. In simple word, it means that DPSP along with fundamental rights are the soul of the Constitution. What are they? They are the soul of the Constitution. So this was the basic introduction of the DPSP. One more important thing is there that you need to understand. The DPSP, which are enshrined in Part 4 of the Indian Constitution, they were also inspired from the instrument to the state, and that was included in the Government of India Act 1935. So it was inspired from there also. In the Government of India Act 1935, instrument of instruction were there. Instrument of instruction. At that time, it was directed to the Governor Generals. What was there in this instrument of instruction? That they have to do certain things or certain provision they have to implement for the welfare of the people. For the welfare of the people. Similarly, it was inserted in the Indian Constitution in the form of DPSP, which also directed government or state, you can say, to do certain tasks for the welfare of, to ensure the socio-economic democracy of the people, where it aims at creating a just society. Another thing that you need to know about it, during the Constituent Assembly, there was a person named B.N. Rao. He was the constitutional advisor of that Constituent Assembly. Constitutional advisor. What was his suggestion? His suggestion was that fundamental right should be of two types. Fundamental right should be of two types. First one should be justiciable, and second one should be non-justiciable. What are two main different categories? Justiciable and non-justiciable. So, fundamental rights which are included in Part 3rd of the Indian Constitution, they are justiciable in nature, we will look into the meaning of what the word justiciable means. On the other hand, DPSP, which are included in the part 4th of the Indian Constitution, are non-justiciable in nature. So till now, we have seen what are different opinion of famous personalities on DPSP and the origin of the concept of DPSP in the Indian Constitution, its development in the Indian Constitution. I hope everything is clear. Now we will look into the features of DPSP. What are the main features of DPSP? If for instance in exam, this question may come in a state PCS mains examination, that they may directly ask you to write the features of DPSP, DPSP. In that regard, this content will help you a lot. Let's start. What are the main features of DPSP? Many of them we have discussed already. For example, DPSP resembles instrument of instructions. What they represent? Instrument of instruction enumerated in the Government of India Act 1935. Okay, this point is clear. DPSP embody the concept of welfare state. Now you need to understand the concept of welfare state. In India, currently we have a welfare state, but during the British regime, when we were the colony of British, at that time, that system was police state, in which administration was a key point. But in welfare state, it is a people centric. So you need to understand difference between welfare state and police state. So in India, Indian Constitution provides for welfare state. When there is a welfare state, its main responsibility is to do things for the welfare of people. This is the main basis of welfare state. That is, governance should be people centric. What it should be? People centric. Next important thing is DPSP are non-justiciable. What it means? If you have seen my last lecture of fundamental right, then it will be quite clear to you that what justiciable means and what non-justiciable means. Here the word non-justiciable means that you cannot go in court and ask for the implementation of DPSP. We will right now, after a few minutes, we will look into the different DPSP, then it will become more clear to you. Non-justiciable means that you cannot go in a court and ask court to give direction to executive or legislative to implement different provision of DPSPs. However, they are non-justiciable. It helps the court in examining and determining constitutional validity of a law. That we have seen under the Article 13 of the Indian Constitution, that court can see whether any law enacted or any rule and regulation formulated by the executive, whether it is consistent with the constitutional principle or not. So in checking that constitutionality of any act, rule, regulation, DPSP can be also used by the judiciary. What do we understand by? However, it is non-justiciable in nature, but still, judiciary can use it to check the constitutionality of any act, rule or regulation enacted by state. Till now, I think everything is clear. If you have any doubt, please write in a comment section. And one more thing, you have any query regarding admission, please call to the number which is given in a description box. The next important provision of DPSP is that it gives instruction to both state and legislature. It gives instruction to both state and legislature. This is one of the important features. Means these are instructions which are directed toward state as well as toward legislature also. Next important feature is when state is going to make any policy, any law, then a state should keep these principles which are enumerated under the DPSP from Article 38 to 51 should be kept in mind. For example, during election you have seen that right now there is an election environment in different states. So what the political parties do, they bring manifesto. What they bring? Manifesto. In that manifesto, they present what policies or principle or target they are having for the governance if they come into power. And after coming into power, they act as a guideline for them, or a principle that they have to follow in the governance or in lawmaking. Similarly, DPSP act as a manifesto for the state. It acts as a manifesto for the state, that while making rules and regulation, they need to follow the principle which are enshrined in the DPSP from Article 38 to 51. I hope everything is clear now. Now we have seen different features and development of the concept of DPSP in the Indian Constitution. Now we will look into the what are the basic aim and objective of DPSP. Why we are focusing a lot on DPSP. Let's start. The first basic aim of DPSP is to set up social economic goals before the lawmakers. For instance, lawmakers mainly are MPs in the union, at parliament, and in state assemblies at the state level. Lawmakers are sitting. Now what target they have for their public or for common people? It should be given or directed by the DPSP that they have to achieve certain target for the welfare of the people. It is directed by the DPSP. Next important thing is to bring socio-economic change in the society. To bring socio-economic changes in the society. For instance, right now we are seeing that there is a large scale inequality in the society. Lot of people are living below the poverty line. So these changes are part of the social changes as well as of economic changes. So government has to focus on these things. Next target is to fulfill the basic needs of the common man. To fulfill the basic need of common man. For instance, what are the basic needs? Food, shelter, These two things are the basic needs, and if person has to live a life with dignity, that is provided by the Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. So that basic need had to be fulfilled by the state to reshape the structure of India's society in direction of greater socio-economic inequality. During British time, during medieval period, we have seen that large scale inequality existed in Indian society. So when our constitutional makers were designing our constitution, then it was one of the major objectives to achieve the target of socio-economic equality. After so many years of independence, still we have not achieved that target. And still we are pursuing different, our parliament, executive, all are involved in achieving this target as early as possible. So it was all about the aims and objective of DPSP. Now we will start with the Article 36, that is the first article of DPSP. In this article, not much is there to discuss. It talks about the definition of state. It talks about the definition of state. And this concept we have discussed already in the fundamental right under the Article 12 of that part 3rd, where similar definition was given कि what is the meaning of state, what are the main component or constituent of the state. For example, legislative, executive, different organizations under the government or state, you can say, all come under the category of state. So we are not giving much time to this article. We are now moving to article number 37. In this article, what it talks about, it says that provision contained in this part shall not be enforced by any court. That is, it means they are non-justiciable in nature, which makes it Article 37 says they are non-justiciable in nature. But it says that these provisions should be followed by state while making laws. It should be followed by the state while making laws. Till now, I think everything is clear. Now we will start the DPSP from Article 38. Now you need to pay more attention over it. Sorry, before going further, we need to understand one more thing. Classification of DPSPs. On the basis of their content, on the basis of the ideologies they promote, or they are associated with which type of ideology, DPSPs are classified into 3 categories. And one important thing you need to know that this classification is not mentioned in the Indian Constitution. This is done for its students or for the people for its simple understanding. Again, I am saying this classification is not provided by the Indian Constitution. This is done only for the sake of understanding. So what this classification includes? Socialist principle, Gandhian principles, liberal intellectual principle. What it include? Socialist principle, Gandhian principle, and liberal intellectual principle. These 3 are the main categories of or classification of the DPSP, and we will study one by one. We are going to start with the socialist principle. before starting the socialist principle, you guys need to be understand the meaning of word socialist. We are not going in deep because we have already discussed it many times. The meaning of the word socialism. Socialist. It, in a layman's term, it means that in a governance system, state will be a supreme authority, that is in other system also, and it will control the distribution of resources. It will control the distribution of resources. In India, what we have? We have democratic socialism. It is a different type of socialism from other countries, which generally follow extreme communism. For example, in China, in Russia. In India, we have a democratic socialism where it is blended with a democratic system. And its main objective is to create a just society which is based on the principle of equality. So I hope the meaning of word socialist is clear for you guys. And it was inserted in the Indian preamble in the year 1976 through the 42nd Constitutional Amendment. Now, one by one, we will focus on the different articles included under the socialist principle. So we are starting with the article number 38, sorry. What this article says? These are articles you need to understand. You have to understand these are the direction given to the state. So you have to think from that perspective. Promote the welfare of the people by securing social order through justice, socio-economic, political, and to minimize inequality in income, status, facilities, and opportunities. It gives direction to the state that state has to minimize inequalities in the sphere of income, status, facilities, opportunities. For this, what government do? It creates an environment of positive discrimination through the method of reservation. For example, EWS reservation for the economically weaker section of the society. That was done to create more opportunities for the people who belong from the general category, but they are included under the weaker section. So this target under this article is achieved by the state through different enacting laws, creating reservation policies. For example, if we talk about facilities, urban areas have more facilities and rural areas have low facilities. So what the government is doing, it is creating more infrastructure in rural areas so that facilities in those areas could also be increased. So this directive or this work done by the government is under the Article 38 of Indian Constitution. Now Article 39. Again, this article also gives direction to the state that it has to secure certain rights for the people, which are as follows. right to adequate means of livelihood for the citizen, that state has to create livelihood provisions, that opportunities for the people. In this regard, MG Narega Act was enacted and implemented to give more opportunities, livelihood opportunities for the people. Second is equitable distribution of material resources of the community for the common good. Again, it talks about public welfare. Guys, this is your assignment, that which article we are dealing with. You have to think, from your perspective as the administrator, you have to think that which provision or which act are implemented to achieve this target by the state. This is your assignment. Prevention of concentration of wealth and means of production means it should not happen that people from certain categories or in or certain class of the societies, they are having wealth, too much wealth in comparison to other people of the society. So the government has to focus on reducing inequality in the society. Equal pay for the men and women. This concept has been often in news, that for the same work, men are paid more and women are paid less. It represents the patriarchal mindset that a women do not deserve same salary as compared to men. For this, many feminist movements have been organized in India to nullify this concept from our society. But still, lot of things, remarkable change has been seen in this regard. Then women are also coming forward in different fields and they are getting more salary in compared to their men counterpart. But still, large number of women, they are lagging behind. So it is a responsibility of both society as well as state to ensure that for same work, men and women should get equal salary. Next important thing is preservation of the health and strength of workers and children against the forcible abuse. Again, there is nothing to explain in this article. Preservation of health and strength of workers. Government has to take measures for the welfare of workers, children against forcible abuse. If there is any kind of abuse with the children, it can be mental, physical, psychological, social, etc. So state has to make provision to save them from such abuses. Next is opportunities for the healthy environment of the children. Different acts such as POSCO Act have been enacted to create a good environment, healthy environment for the children in the society. Now, next article is 39A. It was included in the Indian Constitution through amendment. And this is your assignment, that you have to tell me through which amendment Article 39A was added in the Indian Constitution. This will discuss later on about the amendment. Here we are only discussing about what is the main content of this article. Article 39A promotes equal justice and free legal aid to the poor. As we know about Indian judiciary or our criminal justice system, that fees of certain or there is a lengthy process. So it is difficult for the poor people to fight the cases. As report published by NCRB, it says that most of the under trials, they are from the poor family and from the vulnerable section of the society. They are mostly from vulnerable section of the society and the poor household. So government need to provide free legal aid to such people who belong to vulnerable section of the society. So this direction is given by Article 39A, and on this direction, government has created NALSA Act to ensure free legal aid to people who are not able to get their get who are not able to get that opportunity to represent themselves legally through the different lawyers who charge a hefty amount. Then we come to Article 41. These all articles are part of the socialist principle. We are skipping many articles. For example, 39A2 we directly came to 41. The leftover articles we will study under different principles such as in Gandhian principle or liberal intellectual principles. This article says that in the case of unemployment, old age, sickness, disablement, state should secure right to work, right to education, right to public assistance. For example, in COVID-19 pandemic of COVID-19, we have seen that employment opportunities were not there, lockdown were imposed throughout the country. In that regard, it is responsibility of government to ensure right to work, education and public assistance. This was done through different means. So we have seen Article 39A and 41. Now we are moving toward next article. Article 42 of DPSP. What Article 42 says? Make provision for just and human condition of work and maternity relief. We see that workers sometimes they are harassed due to unjust and unhuman condition. For example, during British time, the hour that they have to work was more than 8 hours. Sometimes they have to even work for 12 hours, 14 hours, and there was no provision of rest for them, Sunday leave for Sunday for them. This was all about unjust and inhuman condition. They are not, which means they are not created like a humans. So this article number 42, directs government to ensure that workers work in a just and human condition, that they should not be treated like animals or worse than animals. Second is maternity relief. Maternity relief is generally provided to women who are pregnant and who gave a delivery. They should be provided maternity relief. For example, Maternity Act was passed in the recent time and the period of that leave was extended for them. That was done under Article 42 of the Indian Constitution. Next is Article 43. Now what Article 43 directs? Secure a living wage, a decent standard of living, social and cultural opportunities for all workers. It also directs the state to make provision or welfare opportunities for workers, that they should get a living wage. For here, a living wage means, for instance, they are getting 100 rupees per day. But in those 100 rupees, he is not able to get 2 time meals for him or for his family. So that will be not considered as a living wage. So there should be a sufficient wage that he should able to fulfill his basic demands, a decent standard of living. Again, here will be talk about food, shelter and clothes. That he should be provided such salary that he should be able to get or manage a good living standard. And government has to make effort in this regard. It was all about Article 43. Recently you have listened that ration cards, a scheme was launched to make it a universal, means a person who has a one ration card, one country formula was applied. That a person who is such from Bihar, if he goes to work in any southern Indian state or in Delhi or in any Haryana or in any other state, then that person should also able to get ration in the state where she is migrating. That was done under Article 43. These directions are given by DPSP to the state. I hope you are getting every point which are enshrined under different articles. Now we will talk about Article 43A. What Article 43A says? 43A, it was first of all added through amendment, and you have to tell me in the comment section through which amendment it was added in DPSP. What this article says? Government has to take step to secure the participation of workers in the management of industries. What it says? That government has to ensure that workers take participation in the management of industries. Generally, in the capitalist societies, we have seen that management of industries is mainly run by the owner or the people that have a profitable interest in that industry. In that scenario, the interest of workers is denied or it is not taken into consideration. So, this article says that there should be representative from the worker society or the worker union in the management of industries, so that interest of such people should be also considered. It was about Article 43A of the Indian Constitution. Next is Article 47. Article 47 says that rise the level of nutrition and standard of living of people and improve public health. There is not much to explain in this article, that being a welfare state, it is responsibility of state to ensure the level of nutrition in our country. We see that there is a large scale malnutrition in our countries. So government has launched different initiatives, different schemes to ensure nutrition in the people. For example, midday meal. It is done with two objectives: to ensure that people come to children come to school, and also they have a nutritious food over there. It is under Article 47, standard of living and public health. At primary, secondary and tertiary level, different government hospitals are there, whose objective is to ensure public health. It is provided under Article 47 of Indian Constitution. Now we will talk about the Gandhian principle. What do you mean by Gandhian principle? These principles, which are included in DPSP, are somehow inspired by the ideologies of Gandhiji. Therefore, they are known as Gandhian principle. Articles which are included under it, up to some extent, are associated with the work of Gandhiji. That's why they are known as Gandhian principle. Let's start with the Article 40. What Article 40 says? That organization village panchayat endow them with necessary powers and authority to enable them to function as unit of self-government. Mahatma Gandhi ji in administration or in governance focused on giving sufficient power to village panchayat. He was against the centralization of power. He always emphasized on decentralization, that the panchayat at the local level should be empowered so that they are able to tackle the governance issue at the local level. So in this regard, 73rd constitutional amendment was done in the year 1992, which gave constitutional status to panchayats, and that we will discuss in the next coming session when we will talk about the local self-government. Now we are moving toward next article. Next is 43. Now what Article 43 says? It says that promote cottage industries on an individual or cooperation basis in the rural areas. Again, we will talk about Gandhiji also here. Gandhiji was against the establishment of big industries, machine-based industries, which do not require much labor. So he promoted cottage industries. In cottage industries, generally 4 to 5 people are involved. We can say a family is involved in rural areas, and there are a lot of industries which are involved in manufacturing of different products. So if there will be large number of cottage industries in a society, then it will be like a self-reliant society. It didn't have to dependent over the other society, and also it will create a lot of local employment, so people do not have to migrate to other industries. It was the concept of cottage industries which was promoted by the Gandhiji, and it was inserted in the part 43, Article 43 of the Indian Constitution. Now the next article is article number 43B. It was implemented through the amendment. Inserted through the amendment. And it emphasizes on promoting voluntary formation, autonomous functioning, democratic control, professional management of cooperative society. You must be taking daily milk, butter and all other things of different companies. One of them is Amul. It is like a cooperative society. Initially, few people who were the milk producer came together and formed an organization with the objective to sell and act as a union, so that it will be better for them to fetch good prices and work in an organized manner. So Article 43B of the Indian Constitution promotes the development or propagation of cooperative societies in India. In cooperative societies, people on themselves voluntarily come together, form a union. It could be of anything. For example, potato cooperative can be there, self-help group can be there. All these come under the cooperative society. For example, in any region, people are creating toys or for example, in food processing industry, for example, people in Arunachal Pradesh, they have a lot of oranges. So a group in the villages come and they decide they will make a juice, orange juice, and they will sell by a common name. That will be known as a cooperative society. what the next article talks about, it is 46 and it says that promote the educational, economic interest of SC and other weaker section of the society and to protect them from the social injustice and exploitation. We have seen that in Indian society, different classes are there, different castes are there, and the treatment of people with them is decided by on the basis of caste. For example, people of SC and ST group, they face a lot of discrimination. Even people of SC categories, they are not allowed to, in earlier time, now a lot of things have changed. They were not allowed to use public places. For example, take water from the public well, go to the temple. Whenever they have to go pass through the in front of that people of so-called upper class, they have to bow down or they have to make sound so that people from upper caste will come to know that people from so-called lower caste is coming. Such discrimination was prevailed in Indian society. In order to remove that discrimination, to save them from social injustice and exploitation, Article 46 of DPSP direct the state to make rules for their welfare. In this regard, SC/ST Act, Civil Right Act, all were enacted to achieve this target or objective. Next article is article number 47. Now what article 47 says? It says that prohibit the consumption of intoxicating drinks and drugs which are injurious to health. This will, for example, alcohol is there. It is injurious for the health of a people. Drugs such as heroin, charas, all are injurious for the people, for the public. So what this article number 47 says, that it should be prohibited. Its consumption should be stopped under article 47 in this regard. For example, states like Gujarat, Bihar, they have banned that liquor, banned the sale of liquor or formation of manufacturing of liquor in their state. That is done under article 47. Drugs are also not being allowed in country, only they are being, for example, drugs, whenever you go to at any medicinal or chemist shop, they will first ask prescription. On the basis of prescription, they will give you medicine. Unless it will be difficult for you to take any drugs. It also includes normal medicine and other intoxicating drugs also. Next is article number 48. What it says? It says that prohibit the slaughter of cows. Prohibit the slaughter of cows, calves and other milch and draught cattle and improve their breeds. I think there is not much to explain in this article. It simply talks about prohibition of slaughter of cows, that we have to promote promotion of improving the breeds of Indian cattle. This direction is given by the Article 47 of the Indian Constitution. In today's session, this was our last article. Today we have covered what is DPSP, its development in the Indian Constitution, evolution, its main features, its objective and aims, and we have covered today socialist principle and Gandhian principle. and tomorrow we will start with the liberal intellectual principle. I hope you guys are liking my lectures, and please share and subscribe. And also, if you have any query regarding admission, please call on the number which is given in the description box. Thank you and have a nice day.